Did I accomplish my goal of not saying anything to nobody? No. Because it seems like, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but as soon as I come outside, they come out. And it may be unintentional. Kids do that, run back and forth, in and out. Then the little boy is chasing the dog outside. The dog runs across the yard to the neighbor's yard and across my yard. Now I know how the other girl came running across here too. And so I'm like, hey, where's the leash? And of course, the little boy ignores me. Then the dog runs across my yard. He's trying to tell him not to. So at least he's trying to tell him not to, or it seems like, or he's aware of it, even if he's not really seeming like. And then he says, the dog is just watching out for you. And of course, my silly self, because I'm dumb like that, I'm like, oh, thank you. He just making sure I'm okay. Thank you. But that's not really what he meant. I think what happened was that the kid probably talked to the adult in the house, and the adult said, yeah, they keep, no, he didn't say watching out for you. He said keeping an eye on you. So what I've learned from this lesson, and I'm sharing this even though for whatever reason the universe keeps telling me not to share because I'm oversharing, but it's okay. It's just me. And if it ends poorly, it all ends poorly, because there may be someone else that has the same struggle. I used to think I was alone in some of the struggles that I have, but as I watch TikTok, I see other people with very similar situations, and sometimes it's hard for me to comment on them or anything like that because it hits home and it's too close to home and it's too hard. But what I've learned from this situation is that there are no more children. You address them the way that you would address an adult professionally, though. Hey, so what's the response the next time? Oh, he's just looking out for you. No, I'm a grown up. I look out for me. Your grown ups that live in your house should look out for you and your pet. All dogs are supposed to have leashes so they don't run into other people grown ups' property, so other grown ups don't have to watch out for them. So I need to be direct, and because I have a very soft spot in my heart, because I actually do love kids and I love other women because I'm a lady and I understand some of the hardships that women go through, but we're not all cut from the same cloth. And actually I used to pride the cloth that I was cut from, but my cloth is a little sullied. So just because I've been through too much and I'm kind of at bah humbug, and again, part of it may be perimenopause with a combination of life experiences, and maybe that's where perimenopause comes from. Maybe it's just that age where your life experiences or your hormones are just like, hey, I'm pretty much done. So yeah, so that's what it is. So speak directly, speak clearly. I still don't know who the head of the household is. I don't see a mother ever. The one time that I did knock, there was two ladies and they both look like kids. And then there's another kid that looks like an adult. So I don't know who's who. Then there was a young man that came out. It's Section 8 housing, so no adult men or boys or whatever should be there. But I don't know. But my goal is to mind my business, keep your dogs out my yard. And if I say it or someone says, say nothing. If someone says something to you, say clearly your dog should be on a leash, period. And it's like nobody realizes or understands that. Some other things that I'm going to overshare as well. And I shouldn't say that because somebody else will hear this and just take it into just overshare mode. But whatever. But so yesterday as I walk in, a couple of other things I noticed that I didn't, and I'll take it piece by piece because it's too much to do all at one time. But I'll talk about the man. So there was a man in this burgundy convertible. And I wouldn't have thought about it except I was at a light. And you know how you can tell, and he was looking kind of like you would look at a homeless person that you see on the street. It's like you see something and it catches your eye because it's just something that's there. It's not nothing personal. But I think he felt sorry for me. Okay. And he may have felt sorry for me for a couple of different reasons. I didn't feel sorry for myself. I was happy that I wasn't going to a store by my house, which I ended up having to go to anyways, not having to, but I made a conscious choice to, because their price on something that I saw was actually a little bit, it was the same and they had more variety. Well, it was a little bit less. It was 20 cents less even with the plus. So I don't think they realized that the price on that particular item went up. So, but he was at the light, and I think he was looking at me probably with pity, because he probably saw, I think he lives in this neighborhood somewhere, because there was one time where he drove past me, or a convertible similar, that's why I was looking at license plate to that, drove past me on my street, and the neighbor's diagonal was looking to see if there was going to be any type of interaction. There was not, of course, but he was at the light, and I noticed, because it's a real flashy convertible, so I looked up and I happened to see it, and he saw me but didn't see me as a person. He saw me as kind of like I said, like if you're driving down the street, you see a homeless person on the side of the street and you look and you see a homeless person. That's kind of how he looked. Like he acknowledged that he saw me, not in any physical way, but just because his eyeballs happened to land upon me. Just like this happened with me walking back yesterday. I was looking at some flowers that was somebody's walking past, and your eyes wandering, you looked at the flowers in a person's yard. My eyes averted from there, and it led to a path that somebody had their garage door open. I wasn't meaning to look in there, but my eyes like directly went in, and I was like, oh Lord, I was so embarrassed because I wasn't intending to look in there, but had somebody saw me, they would have thought that I was intending. I wasn't. And so it's the same thing. He's just looking at the scenery, and I happened to be part of the scenery, kind of like you would look at a stop sign or something like that. And he felt bad. He might have felt bad because he probably saw the neighborhood I'm in. And like I said, I'm on various, I call it still social media because that's the only reason I use it, but I'm on various sites that happen. I've been on POF before. I'm on Whisper. I'm on Black now, BLK now. And so he's probably, and I swipe right on everybody because it's just an opportunity to have a conversation starter. So it doesn't matter, 18 to a billion, I swipe right. And it was kind of awkward because, it may have just been he felt sorry for me because he saw me there. Or, like I said, I've been here long enough where people probably say things behind doors that I'm not even aware of because I've been to a church. And that's, like I said, there had to be, there's things going on that I don't know about. It's always been like that. I'm not in that part of the clique, so I don't know what people are saying. But I mind my business for the most part. I just don't like nobody in my yard. So, he may have seen me around here. I don't know. Or maybe he saw me online, or maybe he recognized that, hey, that's the person that I said hello to on one of these apps. And he's like embarrassed that he even said hello to me because, here's this person walking on the street. And I do, and I should put a disclaimer. And sometimes I have, hey, Valdosta is small. You're going to see me on the street. Do not speak to me if you see me. Do not feel embarrassed if you see me. That is my mode of transportation. And again, do not speak to me. I've had people speak to me because they thought, okay, maybe she's a cool person. I'm not. I'm not. But yeah, so I think that's what it was. But then he pulled up in front of the grocery store. And I guess if you have a car like that, maybe you can do that. He parked right in front of the grocery store. And again, he looked embarrassed. And I think maybe he had family or friends that he knew there. I don't know. But it was like he obviously, his spirit saw me. If his eyeballs, he saw me but not saw me. It's kind of the thing where you see somebody but you look right through him. He saw me, my presence there, like a stop sign. You see a stop sign is there, but you're not really looking at the stop sign. You recognize that it's there because you recognize the general shape and whatever. And I think he felt my situation, or where he perceived my situation to be, or my spirit to be, more than anything else. So he didn't really see me with his eyes. He saw me with his spirit. And when he saw me, he felt me. He felt my spirit. But it wasn't in a way, and I missed the way that people used to feel my spirit. Like I said, I used to walk past and people would be so refreshed. It would rejuvenate them. They would have to turn around and look. I didn't see you, but I felt your spirit, And now it's like when people feel my spirit, because he felt my spirit, I could clearly see it. It was sad. It made him sad. I don't want to have that effect on people. I don't want to make people sad by my presence or my spirit. And I talked to y'all yesterday or the day, and I was sad. I was sad yesterday because I was still missing my mom dearly and sorely. And so maybe he saw my social media, maybe he saw my YouTube, and maybe he saw me crying or talking about how I was crying about that, Maybe he's ex-military and a black man, and maybe, I don't know, maybe, I don't know what it is, a whole bunch of maybes, but all I know for sure is that his spirit felt me, and it was not something that made him happy. It didn't make him angry or mad or nasty. It made him sad, and it's one of those things where, not to get involved, but I don't want that to be the kind of energy that I leave on people, And I don't want people to feel creeped out. And I don't know if those people felt creeped out or not that I was talking about. But when you don't state specifically who you are and what you are, like, I'm easily maneuverable. Like little boy said, oh, he was just keeping an eye on you. And I didn't think about the verbiage of that, keeping an eye on me. I'm an adult, So, you have to be direct, and you have to learn to do that. And, it has to be a point where I have to get my reins on those parents, but I don't want to willy-nilly be saying any and everything because I want it to be taken seriously. And for me, when I come into a point where I have to come to, with these people, obviously they're not righteous, and it's different components to a household, just like that group. And God wanted me to see some of that group yesterday of that young woman and the toddler and the two teens. The young woman, I think, wasn't on that, but I think the teenagers were, or one of the teens were, and that negativity was influencing the rest. So just because one person is one way doesn't mean everybody else is, So I have to learn, and I should know this, but I'm relearning everything, fallacy of composition, that a part doesn't make up the whole. And they could be a close pack whole, but it doesn't mean it makes it the whole. Just like when I think about when I was part of the family, my sister, loud, outgoing, skip school, beer, smoke cigarettes, tattoos, you know, me, quiet. I don't budge unless you tell me to. If you tell me to do it, I'm going to do exactly what you tell me to. You know, never skip school except once. I did one time. Never, you know, drank, you know, all that stuff. You know, in adulthood, I did make a couple drinks, but not, you know, in those young years like that. But it's just, you know, we raised by the same people, you know, hypothetically same parents, but I guess when you talk about children being raised or people being raised, you know, the school, I talked about this before, the school mostly raised your kids, so whoever she was around in school raised her, you know. And again, we have two parents, so even though, you know, we may be predominantly raised one way, like me, I just, whatever my mom said that she actually raised me Korean style. So every little thing she told me to do is what I did. Exactly. In college, Morty, don't wash your hair. I used to wash my hair every single day, but she would tell me not to. And I would not wash my hair because my mom, who was like 100-something miles away, told me not to wash my hair. I'm not washing my hair. Every single thing she told me to do, I did. My sister, the exact opposite. But she was the one that I said was, that she said was ongtung gangtung, that whatever she told me I did opposite, I didn't. If she told me to do something, I did it. But I did did I question things? Yeah, I asked questions. You know, I asked questions. The questions I asked, I can remember questions I asked about washing dishes. You know, she wanted me to wash the dishes. I said, well, why don't we all just wash our own dishes? It won't be. I got my mouth washed out with soap for asking that question. You know, then I remember my mom, I think we weren't supposed to go out. This is things I did in teenage years, though. I went to the Hampton Coliseum. They had a circus. I walked through the door with my quote-unquote friends there with my little light laser sword. My mom took it and beat me with it. I remember my friend Lisa it's so funny to hear the word friend. She was just like, Miss Kim. She was scared because my mom was beating the crap out of me with the sword, you know. But she told me not to go, and I did. So, you know, things like that. I remember sneaking out to the club with other so-called friends. It's so sad that when you look back, you realize you didn't have any, you know, because people that really had those friends all those years, they had friends. And I didn't realize that I had to have a guy that was associated tell me, you know, that girl, he called her a BIT stage. She was, and I think probably because he probably was trying to get some and she probably wasn't giving it to him. And that girl's not really your friend. I see the little black girl, and he meant my other friend all the time, but I'll never see you. Then I started to realize, you know, he's probably drawing a rift intentionally between us. But then I started to realize on top of that, you know, I was eventually just being used to be there because I was such the quote unquote good girl, so she could go and hoe. And people were like, well, Maria was here, so, you know, nothing happened. And then when I look back on the stuff that particular girl did, she did a lot that I wasn't aware of, because even though I was a teenager, the type of teenager I was different than, I didn't really know what was going on, you know, but there was obviously some things that I'm just becoming aware of at 40-something that she knew about at 16 and 17 that I did, you know. But, you know, it's life, you know. And I think about, there's a song, To All the Girls I Loved Before. I think about all the people that have impacted my life in some way. I still love and care about all those people deeply, you know. Was that care returned? You know, probably in hindsight, not. But I was too not naive to know it, you know. And would I take back the care that I gave? That's a hard question. I want to say no, because I enjoy caring about people. But I think that, you know, I wish that I would have known more about the world, you know. But you can't give, even if it's care, you can't, you know, I've always given freely because the thing that I wish I would have known, that I always thought that I would have an overflowing cup of love, but I didn't realize the love that I had was due to what was invested in me, you know. And you do run out of love eventually, and I did. I didn't have any more to give, and I didn't have any coming back in. So the legal system took every drop. I couldn't even rejuvenate it. Legal system took every drop that I had out of me. But anyways, I'm seeing a lot of posts about not telling all your business, but I am, because, you know, I am. I am. I even had a dream about it the other day. I think something with my mouth or something, which means that you're talking too much. And it's true, you know, not everybody has your best intentions, but, you know, for right now, you know, this is my family. This is where I will post and where I will leave. This, Whisper, wherever else, you know. But I will go with how I feel, and it's a process of healing for me. It is, Um, but tomorrow's the backyard. Tonight I finished resetting up the stuff that I was supposed to set up. I had to redo some things, so eventually, sometime tonight, I'll get to that. I really didn't have much of an appetite. I hope my period's gone for good. I haven't seen it, but some of the premenstrual syndromes that I usually have, like me, like hormones, those are gone. But my body usually has a distinct smell, or a pH balance changes or something. It's a little bit of that, but not really. And usually my period would have dropped by now. Maybe it's really, really late. And if it's just not coming at all, I'll be happy for that, because I haven't wanted it in a very long time. So I'm okay. I never wanted it since I got it. I think I had made up my mind definitively at 24. I don't need this. Why do I have it? I don't want it. So if it's gone, I'm happy. I'm happy about that. I'm happy to just transition into, older years like that. No more periods. Like I said, tampons are expensive. But yeah, so eventually tonight I get into that. I didn't have much of an appetite today, which used to be part of the premenstrual cycle. My hormones would get crazy. I didn't know that. My ex had to tell me. And it's so scary to say ex because that was damn near almost 20 years ago. But the person I was with at that time had to let me know what was going on. And then it'll go from me not eating, like eating everything voraciously, which I guess I did do. I was cream cheese, everything. And then to not having an appetite at all. But the part with not having an appetite at all had gone away for a bit. Like I would still have a steady appetite, but that's back now because today all I had was some ramen. And the only reason I had that because I realized that I hadn't eaten anything or out of habit or something, just making myself eat. I wasn't really hungry. But anyways, I'm going to get back to slowly completing my little tasks as I wish. Tonight, all I said is setting up the rest of the stuff that I need to set up, and and that's it as far as my office. But that's it. Other than that, I'm good.